Millionaire's son had only 3 minutes to live, until a poor single dad did the unthinkable. The doctor's voice cracked when he said it. We have maybe 3 minutes before we lose him. In a cold hospital corridor in Dallas, Texas, a father stood frozen, a man who had everything money could buy, now watching his only son slip away. The monitors were beeping faster. The nurses were running, and time had nearly run out. But no one in that hallway that night could have predicted what happened next. Because the person who stepped forward to save that little boy's life wasn't a specialist flown in from across the country. It wasn't a miracle drug or a cutting-edge machine. It was a quiet man in worn-out work boots, sitting in the waiting room, a man most people would have walked right past without a second glance. Before we get into this story, if you love tales that remind you what it means to be human, hit that subscribe button and give this video a like. Drop a comment below and tell us, when was the last time a stranger's kindness changed your day? You're watching Heartfelt Moments, and we're so glad you're here. His name was Marcus Webb. 34 years old, a single dad raising his 8-year-old daughter, Lily, on a warehouse worker's paycheck on the south side of Dallas. He wasn't supposed to be at Mercy General that night at all. Lily had gotten into a tangle with a rosebush in their backyard and needed a few stitches on her forearm. Nothing serious, nothing life-threatening. Just another Tuesday in the life of a man doing his best to hold everything together on his own. While Lily was being treated, Marcus sat in the waiting room with a vending machine coffee and a 3-day-old sports magazine. That's when he heard it, a sound no parent ever wants to hear. A man screaming his son's name down the hallway. The boy's name was Connor Hayes. 7 years old, son of Richard Hayes, a real estate developer whose name was on half the buildings downtown. Connor had been rushed in after a sudden, severe allergic reaction at a birthday party. His throat was closing, his oxygen levels were dropping. The medical team had given him epinephrine, but it wasn't working fast enough. They needed a specific blood type, AB negative, for an emergency transfusion to support his body while they stabilized him. It was one of the rarest blood types in the country. The hospital's supply had run dry just 2 days before. Richard Hayes was pacing the hallway, phone in hand, calling everyone he knew. He was offering money, begging favors, pulling every string he had ever had. None of it mattered. You can't buy what isn't there. Marcus heard the commotion. He stood up slowly, walked to the edge of the hallway, and listened. A nurse rushed past, and without thinking, Marcus reached out and touched her arm gently. "Excuse me, ma'am," he said. "AB negative, I have that. I've donated before. Would that help?" The nurse stopped. She stared at him for a half-second that felt like a lifetime. Then she grabbed his wrist and started moving. What happened in the next 12 minutes was nothing short of extraordinary. Marcus was tested, confirmed, and the direct donation process was initiated with emergency protocol. His blood, the blood of a man who couldn't afford new work boots, flowed through a tube and into the small, fragile body of a millionaire's son. Connor's oxygen levels slowly began to climb. The beeping slowed to a steady rhythm. The boy's color came back. Richard Hayes was in the hallway when the doctor came out smiling. When they told him what Marcus had done, that a stranger in the waiting room had simply offered himself, Richard broke down completely. He found Marcus sitting back in his plastic chair, arm bandaged, finishing the last of his cold coffee like nothing had happened. Lily was beside him, coloring in a workbook, completely unaware of the miracle her dad had just been part of. Richard didn't say anything at first. He just sat down next to Marcus. Two fathers, two completely different worlds, sitting side by side in a fluorescent-lit waiting room at 11 o'clock at night. Finally, Richard asked him why he did it. Why he just walked up like that. Why he didn't wait to be asked, or think about whether it was his place, or wonder if it was even worth the trouble. Marcus looked at him and shrugged with the kind of calm that only comes from a man who has had to be strong for a long time. "I heard a dad who was losing his kid," he said simply. "I have a kid. That's enough reason." Richard Hayes went on to fully fund Lily Webb's college education. He also donated a new supply unit to Mercy General's blood bank in Marcus's name. But Marcus will tell you, If you ask him, that none of that is the part that mattered. What mattered was the moment. The 3 minutes. The choice to get up from that chair. There is a quiet kind of heroism that never makes the headlines. It lives in waiting rooms and parking lots and grocery store lines. It belongs to the people who notice someone else's pain and decide, without any guarantee of reward, without anyone watching, that it is their problem too. That is what kindness really looks like. Not grand gestures. Not viral moments. Just a man in worn-out work boots who heard a father screaming and thought, I can help. You never know when the ordinary moment you're living through is the extraordinary moment someone else is praying for. So keep your heart open. Keep your eyes up. And when life gives you the chance to be someone's miracle, take it. Thank you for watching Heartfelt Moments. If this story moved you, please share it with someone who needs a reminder that good people still exist. Because they do. They're sitting in waiting rooms all around us. And sometimes, all it takes is one. End of script.